Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's Technology Tuesdays with a focus on building a blog on WordPress.com. I'm Lydia Nimke again. I've been a reference assistant at the Bayview branch of MPL for about 3 years. I've built around 10 or so blogs and websites utilizing content management systems, 4 of which have been on the WordPress platform. By no means am I an expert, but today I will be giving you the basic tools that you'll need to build and customize your own blog or website. With us today, we also have Beth Gabriel from the East Branch, who will be answering all of your technical questions as well as asking any questions you may have about the material aloud. If you have questions at any time, please put them in the questions panel, which should be to the right of your screen. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Have a good program, everyone.
So I will turn off my webcam and we'll get started in the presentation. So WordPress is one of the most popular ways to create your website. And I'll just be giving you a little background knowledge for you to have going forward. It was created back in 2003 as a collaboration between Matt Mullenweg and Mike Little, but now it's made up of a community of contributors that is huge. You could even become a contributor yourself. WordPress is an open source content management system licensed under the General Public License version 2, which means that anyone can use or modify the WordPress software for free. A content management system is a tool that makes it easy to manage important aspects of your website without needing to know anything about programming or coding or anything like that. So WordPress can help you make a portfolio, an online resume, a forum, social network, membership site, a business website, an e-commerce store, and of course a blog, and pretty much anything else you can dream up. In fact, WordPress powers over 34% of all websites on the internet. I do want to make a distinction going forward between WordPress.org and WordPress.com. So WordPress.org is the free open source WordPress software that you can install on your own web host to create a website that is 100% your own. You may hear this referred to as self-hosted WordPress. WordPress.com is the for-profit paid service that is powered by the WordPress.org software. It's simple to use, but you lose some of the flexibility that is available through self-hosted WordPress. So a lot of different groups, businesses, and organizations use WordPress software, and I just want to give you a general idea of who they are. The whitehouse.gov website uses WordPress. The official Microsoft blog uses WordPress. The WHO uses WordPress to power their website. BBC America does as well. And the Walt Disney Company also uses WordPress for their website. So although all are made with the same software, no two are exactly alike. So your creative possibilities are really unlimited. I just have a quote here by Steve Jobs. You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. I'm going to be giving you a lot of dots today that might not necessarily all connect until you actually get into WordPress, register, set up your account, and start playing around with some of the features we'll go over today. All right. So we'll just go through some key terminology. I want to get everyone familiar with the words and phrases we'll be using while we navigate WordPress. Of course, going back, WordPress.com, that is what I'm referring to every time I say WordPress today, which is the hosted turnkey solution used for developing a blog or website. A domain name or a URL is a simple label for identifying a resource within a network. A blog is a chronological log of informal articles created by an individual or small group. A website is a connected group of pages presented on the World Wide Web. And a theme is a collection of files working together to produce a graphic interface or the styling of a website. A plugin is a program written in a scripted language to add more functionality to your website. So again, instead of knowing how to code and how to program, you know how to insert a plugin that will do that for you. Posts are entries presented in chronological order and organized by categories and tags. Pages are static information organized in a hierarchical structure accessible through a navigation menu. The primary menu or the main menu is typically a list of navigational links. And the social media menu is a list of links directed to social media profiles. I do want to make a distinction here between posts and pages, and you'll see once we get into WordPress that where you add posts and where you add pages looks very similar, but they are two distinct things. Pages show up in your main menu and they don't really change. Once you get your website set up, you probably won't be adding too many pages, but you will probably very frequently be adding new posts. Okay. So we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I ask a quick question before you move on?
sure.
Sure. Daniel would like to know if the recording of the program will be available in the future. I said I thought so.
Yes, it will be available in the future. We're putting them all on our MPL YouTube page. So I will send those out to you with a follow-up email probably by Thursday.
Excellent. That's what I thought. Thank you so much. That is all of our questions.
Wonderful. So before we get to the demonstration and walkthrough, I just want to let you know that you really don't need a lot to get started. A working computer, the ability to connect to the internet, at least a basic understanding of internet navigation, and an email address that you have access to. Along with those more practical things, you'll need to have a subject for your website or blog, of course, and an idea for a domain name. If you're going to be working on a travel blog, a simple idea for a website name might be, Lydia's Travel Photos, which may translate to the domain name lydiastravelphotos.com. So we are going to get into WordPress. Here we are. So I have all logged in, and this is actually a website I created for a previous program of mine. But once you get all logged in and registered, you'll be taken to a place that looks actually like this, which is where you can follow other blogs and things through WordPress. But you'll want to go to my site up in the left-hand corner. And the first thing we're going to do in here is just take a tour down the sidebar here, also known as the dashboard. It's called the sidebar because it's on the side though. So up first we have our stats, where you can view all the traffic that's coming through your website. You can check out the views and the visitors and look at it broken down by weeks, months, or years. I only created this year, so. You can also view insights, seeing when you post, average posts per day, average views per day, those sort of things. Moving on to plan, you'll see that I have a free plan right now. It suits my purposes as serving as a demonstration absolutely well. In fact, if I was to build this out into a full blog, I think it would suit my purposes perfectly well being free also. You can, of course, upgrade your account. It's not terribly expensive, but it is something, you'll have to take into account. And this is the section you would do that in. So moving down to the site panel, this is where you will view and add to the content areas of your site. So the things that people see are all going to be under this site section. The first section is pages. Now here's where we can see all the pages I have: about me, home, blog feed, and of course, add a new page. I can also see any drafts, any pages that I didn't publish to go live, to be viewable by people on the internet. And I can also schedule posts to be published at a later date. Moving on to posts. So you see what I meant, that, the pages look very, very similar, posts and pages. But this one has a lot more on it because I put a lot more posts on this website than I have pages. Again, you'll add a new post by pressing this pink button over here. And you have the same functionality of drafts, scheduled, and trashed. If you had a lot of posts, you could also search and find a specific one if you wanted to send that link out or something. Next, we have our media section. And this is where you can store all of those images, videos, documents, audio files that you'll be using throughout your blog. Whether they be in your posts, in your header images, anything like that. You have up to 3 gigabytes to use with the free plan, which is generally more than enough for basic purposes. And yeah, moving on to comments. I don't have any comments yet, but if I did have them, they would appear here. WordPress also gives you the really awesome function of being able to approve or deny comments that are posted to your blog. So say someone posts a comment that's completely off topic, has nothing to do with what you wrote, or, is harmful in some sort of way. You don't have to approve it. You don't have to subject your other readers to seeing it. You'll just put it in the trash or put it in the spam if that's appropriate. Moving down to feedback. This is where you would see the results of any contact forms your viewers had filled out, polls, or ratings that you'd ask them to do. And that is the site function, but we'll be going over adding pages and posts a little bit more specifically later on. Now, design. This is another very powerful section that you'll probably be using a lot. And this has to do with how your website looks. Not so much the content, but what it looks like. So under the customize section, we have all of these things we can customize with over here in the sidebar again. And over on the right of the screen, you'll see what looks to be my website. And this is what's known as a Wysiwyg Editor. What you see is what you get. So if you change anything in the settings over on the left, it is automatically reflected in the preview webpage on the right. So there's no guesswork involved. If you want to see if that yellow goes with your black and gray, you'll check it out. And if it doesn't, just don't save the changes and you'll be set. So this is where we can edit our colors and backgrounds, our fonts, the header image. They have suggestions here for you to make things as easy as possible. You can also edit your menus here, and I'll show you that a little bit more depth. So I've clicked menus, and now I see that I have one menu, and that is called primary. So I'll click on that, and I'll see that it has 3 pages listed here: home, blog feed, and about me. So those are the 3 pages we saw earlier. If I were to add another page, I could click add items, and there would be another page there for me to add. Pretty simple. If I wanted to automatically add new top level pages to this menu, I could just by clicking this button here. So we'll back out. If we wanted to create a new menu, like a social media menu to connect all of our social media profiles with our blog or our website, we could do that. Creating a new menu, we'll give it a title and make it be the social menu. In there, we're going to click add items and then add custom links. So there you would just add the link to your profile and add in a link text, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so on and so forth. So that's pretty simple and pretty awesome that they can all connect in such a way. Now you'll see this has moved here since I've made it. Until I click Save Changes, none of this matters. So I'm editing my website totally, but until I click Save Changes, nobody's going to see it. It's just me messing around in here. And then if we go down to widgets, widgets are very cool, and they're, again, small pieces of code, kind of like a plugin, that you can add to your website to do something cool. For example, if I click Add a Widget, one I would probably put if this was my personal blog is one to display the books from I read on Goodreads. So that is like awesome that they have a widget that can do that. There's a bunch of other functionality. You can display your latest Instagram posts. You can add an RSS feed. Yeah, and there are 4 locations that your widgets can go in. They can go in your sidebar. They can go in the left, middle, or right of your footer. And one final thing I'll show you, it is only available on the paid plan, but if you are someone who is interested in learning coding or wants increased customization that you can get through coding, it's only available with a premium WordPress plan, but you can add your own coding into this WordPress blog. So to talk about the Save Changes button, if you click the little cog next to it, you can save your changes, and then it'll ask if you want to publish it live to your site. You can save a draft. So if you're not sure, you can save it and come back to it later. You can also schedule the changes to be made live. So if you want the changes to go live when you're on vacation or you're not going to be near your computer to actually do it, you can do that, on the beginning of every Monday or something like that. We can also discard all the changes we made, just like that. And we'll do that. Now we're back to what we started with. Now we are still in the design section. We'll go down to themes. And this is really how you're going to get that websites that look so different from one another, all using the same software without you knowing how to code, by using a theme that you like and that you are editing with your own content. So we will just scroll down and look at the free themes. There are premium themes that come with the premium plan, and they just have some increased functionality. They might have a designed page for a forum or for e-commerce specifically. So say you really think this one would be the best for your travel photo blog. You'll take a look in. You can open a live demo, and that'll pretty much show you all the functionality that the website has, whether it's enlarging the pictures, scrolling through the gallery on the home page, or even how the links act when you hover over them. And your options after this are to either just go straight into Activate and apply this to your current website, or you can also try and customize. So if your brand colors are pink and green, you can try it and see how it looks with a pink and green background or pink and green fonts, and see if that works for you. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. You'll just back out and look at another theme. You can also view the theme on a desktop, tablet, or a phone. WordPress is really great with responsive web design, meaning no matter the size of the window or screen you're viewing a website on WordPress from, it'll look great. All right, so that's the design function. We're gonna move on down to the tools. So under tools, there are plugins, and these increase your functionality a lot. You do have to upgrade to a business plan to be able to install plugins. I'm just gonna briefly touch on them because they do increase your functionality and take some of the workload off. For example, Akismet anti-spam will kind of review your comments for you for spam or things that violate what you expect of your readers, things of that nature. And there are a bunch of different ones for different purposes: security, writing, forums, things of that sort. Next, we have the import function. You can import content from previous blogs you may have done. I know years back I had a Blogger blog. If I wanted to, and I still had the email address and password, I could import all those posts to populate the new blog I want to create and get off the ground. And you can do it from an even bigger list of websites than this. These are just the most popular ones. And then you can also export content. So you can export specific content or all of your content from your web page to another website, to a flash drive, things of that nature. You can also export your media library. So all those pictures you saw earlier, I could download those all if I chose to. We also have marketing tools that are very helpful to help you market your blog to readers and also monitor traffic again. What I love about WordPress is they definitely want you to be successful and have a good experience blogging on their platform. And then in the earn function, a lot of these are behind a paywall again, but if you're trying to monetize your blog, that $4 a month personal plan might be something you want to look at to be able to accept donations and tips or to earn ad revenue. So those are all the tools menu. And we'll move down to manage finally. So your hosting configuration is available with a paid plan. Because it's not hosted by you, you don't really have a lot of control over this when you're on WordPress.com, right? In domains, you can view your domain. Mine is currently technicallycurious.tech.blog. If I had another domain that I had purchased previously, I could add it to the site and have it point to technicallycurious.tech.blog, or I could purchase another domain and have technically curious, so on and so forth, point to that one. You can buy domains at GoDaddy, or you can buy domains from WordPress. It's up to you, and the more premium the domain, the more expensive it's likely to be. But WordPress does give you a free domain. It just probably won't have the .com ending that we are used to seeing. Okay. And one of the great features of most content management systems is that they allow you to add people as editors of your website in various functions. So if I wanted to, say, have Beth add content to Technically Curious, I could invite her and say that she can only submit posts. She can't edit the theme or customize things, and she can't approve comments, but she can post as much as she wants. Similarly, I could add another user who can only approve comments, can only customize the theme because they're a graphic designer or something along those lines. So that's one of the great parts of creating a more collaborative blog, is that WordPress allows you to do that really easily. And they'll all have their own logins and things, but they'll just have certain permissions within this website. Finally, we are going down to settings. And this is kind of a more back-end part of the blog itself. Here's where you can add your site icon and your site title. And these are kind of two important parts of making any website. So when a search engine is searching because a user has inputted a query, the site title is the first thing the search engine comes across. So if you neglect to put a site title, or it's something tangentially related to your content at best, chances are it's not going to be as high up in the search results as it should be. Another reason you want to have a really appropriate site title is because when you go to your website, I'm at technicallycurious.tech.blog, you'll see in the tab up at the top, Technically Curious is in the tab. So anyone who's, a multi-tab user like me, they can find my website just by looking at the top. It says Technically Curious. You click on it, you'll be in Technically Curious. And the site icon, I know it's kind of small, but if you'll see that W, that's where whatever my icon would be, would populate. So again, it's about branding. It's about creating a consistent theme throughout your work. You can see here on this GoToMeeting one, they have their icon, and GoToWebinar has a blue one. So I can easily tell whether I'm in GoToWebinar or GoToMeeting simply by the color of their icon. Okay. Under settings is also where you can change your privacy settings. So right now my site is public. It is visible to everyone, but I could also make it private. If I just wanted a more like a journal type blog, nothing to monetize, nothing of that sort. I could change my settings to private, and then the site would only be visible to myself and any members who logged into WordPress and had permissions to view this site. You can also make your site coming soon. So all the work can be going on in the background while you're adding in content until you're ready for it to go live and for people to view it. Under public, you'll see there's also an option that you can check if you so choose to discourage search engines from indexing your site. It doesn't necessarily block them from doing it. It's up to them whether they index your site or not. We can talk more about that later if you care to. And then finally down at the bottom here, you can again register a new domain or change your site's address. You can delete your content, so that will just delete all your posts, pages, and media. Or you can delete your site permanently. So you're no longer holding on to the domain name or the web address or anything of that nature. So that all happens in the settings. And then also, you can add a new site. You can have like as many sites as you want, all tied into your WordPress account. So if I wanted a new site just about collaborating with my colleagues on awesome programs we do, I could add that. And I could manage them both from the same account. Okay, so we're gonna go back to my home and talk a little bit more about adding pages. Okay, so in Pages, if we wanted to add a new page, and remember that it will be in our menu, hopefully, we'll click that pink button there. And it gives you a variety of different kind of layouts you can apply to your page. So I don't have a contact page, so I'll scroll down and find that and add it into mine. Again, we're in the Wysiwyg Editor. What you see is what you get. And I like this one, so I'll add that into mine. I'll click Use Content Layout. And now is when I can do some of the editing. So I don't have any hours. I'm just a person. So this I would delete. So all of your pages and all of your posts are edited by what's called a block in WordPress. So here we have the block, it's called the column block, or we have the paragraph block. They're just different ways of adding different content that's already formatted and styled to match with the rest of your theme. Okay, so let's see here. I think that looks good. I'm definitely gonna change this to say Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'll put my work email up there. Okay, I don't know that offhand, so we'll take that out. And that looks pretty good to me. So I can preview this website, or this page, sorry. And I see I forgot to put .gov. So I'm gonna close the preview, go back, and add the part I forgot to input. Oh geez. All right. So let's preview again, and we'll see that looks good. I can, again, get all the functionality while I'm previewing it. View it on a tablet or a phone and see how it would look. So I like that. I'm going to click Publish now. Once you click Publish, it asks you to double check your settings. Do you want this page to be viewable by the public? And do you want it to be published immediately or at some point in the future? This is that scheduled publishing feature. So I'm good with it being public. I'm cool with it being published immediately. So I'm going to click Publish one more time. And it says contact is now live, and now I have the new page address. I'm going to copy that link because currently it is not in my menu, and it should be, right? Because how else is anyone going to access it? So now what I'm going to do is click that W up in the left-hand corner to go back. And I am going to go to design, right? Because that's where we add the pages to the different menus and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go to customize and menus. And go to the primary menu and add items. And now as you see, there's another page that I can add here called contact. So I'm going to click that add button and it shows up over there. And now we do want to click save changes. Save changes. Thinks about it for a second. And then when we go to our live web page and refresh, boom, we have a contact page. Okay. And we'll also be adding a post. So we'll go to post and click add new post. And while I'm doing this, if anyone has any questions, I'm just going to be adding stuff from today's presentation.
So far, I have no questions yet in the question box. Feel
Wonderful.
free to add them though if you do have those questions.
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you're adding images, is there a place where you can add alternate text so people using a screen reader can know what is in the images?
Yes, there is. WordPress is actually really great about accessibility functions. So there is definitely a section to add that alternative text.
Excellent, thank you. I've been reading up on accessibility in my spare time, during my work time.
Absolutely.
It's really great to be aware of, and if you don't know, you don't know, and I'm glad that they have those features.
Yes. There is actually there are web content accessibility guidelines. I don't know if you've come across them in your research, but those really help for people who want to create accessible websites. And in some industries, you absolutely need to. There's no like ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like us as a government entity, like we
Yes.
can't not have fully accessible websites. So yeah, those are an interesting read through because like you said, you never think about, does your color add meaning to what you're saying? Because
Right.
a colorblind person or a person that's visually impaired has no idea what you're trying to say with a yellow text or background or something like that.
See, that's one I had not thought of myself. I will have to find those to look at. Still no questions from the group.
Okay. So as you're creating a post here, you'll see this plus sign here, which is add block. So you can add a wide variety of blocks, Eventbrite, podcast player. You can add a list block, a table block, a quote block. And if you're going to add an image to a site, you can click that image block, select an image. I'll select one from my media library because I like to put my cat in things. And we'll insert him. And we can like resize him or change how the text wraps around him. Add a caption. And so forth. So there are a bunch of different blocks. This is another thing that I encourage you all to actually check out as you're running through a blog, making a blog. We can click Save Draft to continue working on this later, or we can just go ahead and click Publish. If you want to change your post to only be published at a certain date, it's really simple. You just like select the date and time you want it to be published, and you can click schedule, and that'll be scheduled and go live when you do. Okay. So that is about all I have for the basics of setting up a WordPress blog. There are some simple activities that when I did this program in person, we all did together. Can't really do that in this format, but there are some simple activities at the end of the handout that is in the handout section of this presentation, and that was also emailed to you earlier today. If you have any questions as you're working through that, you can email mplwebinars@milwaukee.gov, and I'll be happy to kind of help you troubleshoot a little bit. And if you are interested in learning more than what was covered in this presentation, the final page of the handout lists a bunch of resources, both online and physical materials, books from our library that you can get to help you do more advanced functions on WordPress. And there's also the WordCamp events that are now virtual, of course, but they're informal and community organized events that are put together by WordPress users. And lots of people go and participate and share ideas. So that's another good resource if you're looking to move forward in your WordPress blog making. So if there are no other questions, I'll hang out for a couple of minutes. If anyone wants to try and work their way through some of the activities or even registering for an account, I'm happy to hang out for a few more minutes. But thank you all so much for coming. Next week, we will be exploring online learning resources for Tech Tuesday, so I hope some of you all join us for that one as well.
Yep, doesn't look like any other questions are coming in. Thanks for coming, everybody.
All right, wonderful. Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Beth. See you all
Thank
next week.
you. Oh, here's one. Thank you from Daniel.
Sure.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Daniel. Have a great day. Thanks so much.